Hey, you guys. Wild hair, it's windy here. It is Tuesday night. It's 5:15, well, 5:17. We're going to do our live cooking class. Tonight we're going to be altering a recipe that's already inside the cookbook. So if you have my cookbook, the old version, it's on page 89. It's called Rosemary and Garlic Beans. But we're going to make this into a soup tonight. Super creamy, super good, super delicious. Hope you guys are all doing well. That shh noise is the Instant Pot in the background coming down off of pressure so that our beans will be ready. But in the meantime, we are going to get to cooking here, get to sizzling some things into the skillet. I hope you guys all caught my video I placed up here of the farm tour, because in that video was the chicken coop tour. It was some footage of baby goats jumping around and being cute, and it was covering my seed table that I built for myself to raise my garden seedlings. So if you haven't checked that out, it is up here on the channel. Check it out. All right, let's get going. I know not all of you guys are here for gardening stuff because not everyone can garden, but everybody has to eat. So, okay, so we have a cast iron Dutch oven. I just like to use this to make this meal. You could make it in a regular stock pot. This is just my preference. I also have my handy dandy chopper that's going to make this process go a lot faster. There's the name of it in case you're looking for it. I have a lot of people comment and email me on that one. So we're going to go ahead and inside the pan back here, all you've missed is there's some butter in there. Okay. And this is 8 tablespoons of butter. I am going to be doubling some of the ingredients because I'm going to make this big enough to feed us tomorrow for lunch as well. But I'm not going to double the butter. The butter is plenty to be able to saute up some garlic and some onions. So let's get chopping. All right, so I have a whole onion. This is one of our, well, it's one of our favorites. It's on the list of the really good meals that we eat, which gets longer by the week because I keep inventing new ones that are really good. So I'm just going to peel this and then we're going to send it through on the chopper. When it's sunny outside and the kids are playing outside, everyone gets so tired and whiny. I don't know if it's worse having the children locked in the house because of the poor weather, or if it's when the sun starts coming out, everyone's tired and whiny from being outside. I'm not sure which one is worse. I think they're about equal, to be honest. All right, into the chopper it goes. One whole onion is headed into the pot. There we go. Next is garlic. You want to make sure you buy fresh garlic. We don't want to buy the stuff that's already diced and chopped because it actually has a preservative in it. And we don't really want to consume things that have been soaking in preservatives. This garlic might just peel without me chopping the end. We'll see. There it goes. Okay, so we are after 6 cloves if you're not doubling, but I'm going to go ahead and double. So we're going to try and get 12 here. It's going to be a big job, but somebody has to do it. I hope all of you guys made it out of the nasty weather okay. We got off really easy. The eye of the storm was basically over us, and so we did have 80 to 90 mile per hour winds, but we didn't have like hail and tornadoes and a whole bunch of snow or anything funky. I'm going to go ahead and switch to a smaller knife for my chopper for the garlic. It's kind of awesome about this chopper. Done. All right, so that's 1 garlic clove. And I'm just getting the peeling off, and then we're just going to load it right on in. Whoops. And the onions are already starting to saute in there. So just in case you're new to garlic, this is a garlic. This is a garlic clove. We're just going to chop this little hard end off here. When I started cooking, I didn't even know what garlic was. So I mean, I knew what it was, but I didn't know. I had never held an actual garlic clove in my hand before. I just had been acquainted with the garlic powder. I was a Rachel Ray girl back then, because that's the person who taught me, that's how they cooked, was with Rachel Ray. And so I learned all of her pasta recipes in Italian, which is so good. If you ever want to try a really good recipe that's pasta, her vodka cream pasta recipe is out of this world. It's called You Won't Be Single for Long vodka cream pasta. Very good. I used to make that like once a week back when we first got married, because we ate a lot of pasta back then. Although now that Azure Standard has started carrying the sourdough pasta, maybe I'll make some of that. It's really good. Obviously, in the cooking process, the vodka cooks off. So it's obviously a non-alcoholic meal, but anyway, it's really good. Thick and creamy and delicious. Like I said, I'm trying to get 12 cloves of garlic here. Some of them are bigger than others. This is a tiny one. So the farm here made it out okay with the storm. We did have some damage to our greenhouse, but it, you know, to the greenhouse's credit, it was some of the straps that we didn't get replaced quite yet because they weren't broken yet. Now they're officially broken. So we have some more strap work to do on there. But the sides held strong, and I was so glad we redid the billow straps on the sides with some paracord, because that really held the sides down and didn't allow much wind in. So it all ended up working out just fine. Okay, I'm going to slide you guys over. Here we go. So we have sauteing onion in there. Here comes the garlic cloves. Again, 12 cloves, or pretty close to it. Some of my cloves are larger than others there. Alright, so since this is an enamel cast iron pan, it has had some abuse. So you will see some scratches if you zoom in, because we do have metal utensils inside the house. But it would be best if you used wood when you're cooking with something with a coating like this, because if you scratch it, it's only a matter of time before it starts chipping, and then that's going to end up inside your food. Okay, so we're just going to saute this. It's over medium heat until these onions are translucent. We're going to go ahead and add some seasoning here real quick. We need 1 teaspoon of dried rosemary. In case you're new, I get all of my spices from Azure Standard. I'm going to be doubling this. It's 2 teaspoons. I'm making a big batch of this, you guys. And Azure Standard is so much cheaper than even Walmart per individual shaker size. Okay, oregano, 2 teaspoons into here. There we are. And we need some healthy salt. This is the healthy salt. It's colored salt. Okay. So the reason why colored salt is healthy is because it's colored. The color is minerals. And when you buy your white table salt, that's being taken out of your salt, and you're being sold what is left. So look for colored salt. So pink Himalayan salt, Celtic sea salt, all great options, just not regular Morton table salt. Okay, so we've got salt. We're going to go ahead and add 2 teaspoons. The reason why it's so important, we've been told to fear salt, but really what's happening is you should be fearing the white table salt, because that's what causes health issues. It doesn't have all the minerals in the salt as it was created to be. Okay. Now, I'm going to be using cooked chicken. I made up some broth overnight, so I have 2 chicken breasts here that I'm going to be chopping and adding to this. But if you have raw chicken breasts or raw chicken in general, you would be chopping it right now and adding it to this butter mixture and getting it sauteed up well. The onions are almost to husband approval. What I should have done is I should have diced the onions with the smaller knives because they would have cooked faster. This is a very, very, very fast meal. Also, if you're looking for meals that are 30 minutes or less, I have created an entire playlist here on the channel with all of the recipes that we cooked live together, or maybe not, that I have videos up here of, that take 30 minutes or less to make. So if you're after that, they are all in one big playlist now. I got about 3/4 of the way through 400 videos, and I added quite a few over there. So go check it out. I think I might also go through and have a separate playlist if I have time on all of the quick summer meals, because as summer comes along, you don't want to bake, you don't want to heat up the kitchen, you just want something that you can just throw together, because everyone's been out in the sun, including Mom, and everyone is just tired and just wants to eat. And I have several recipes up here on the channel that will do that for you. I don't have a playlist quite yet. If you scroll back, about a year ago to last summer, you'll see quite a few. We also took a trip, I think 2 or 3 years ago now, here on the channel, and we had a lot of road food and stuff like that. So we do have another trip coming up this summer, and so when that happens, I will be taking you guys along to make the food that we're going to make ahead and discuss what we're going to be eating. We're going to be staying at 2 different cabins, and so that will be a load of fun. Okay, this is officially ready. So what we're going to do is I'm going to go over and grab the already cooked beans out of the Instant Pot. So I will be right back. Just give me 1 second. Okay, so in here are a ton of already cooked up beans, and that's going to go right into this pot. Basically what I did was I soaked the white beans overnight and I fermented them. If you don't know how to do this, it's really simple. The reason why I do it is because it unlocks a lot more nutrients for your family. It fills your family up faster. There is a video up here on the channel about a complete guide to soaking and fermenting beans. It's under the playlist Proper Preparation of Grains. Very affordable. It's just apple cider vinegar, water, and your grain of choice, depending on what you're properly preparing. And so this actually then was put, after 24 hours of soaking, was put into the Instant Pot with some nice chicken broth, just to submerge the beans. And I'm just going to dump it right on in here, and then we're going to add some more broth. Nice and full. Going to give it a stir. And then I'm going to go grab my broth. I have it inside a roaster just behind me here. I'm going to go grab a couple of scoops. I will be right back. We need a total of 6 cups of broth. But I've already put several cups into the Instant Pot. So I'm going to just go grab a few here. Probably about 3 or 4 cups. It might be closer to 6. So we'll have to see what ends up happening. I didn't get around to emptying out my large roaster today. All right, this is 4. Let's see how far that goes. Ooh, it's nice and yummy. That's 4 scoops, 4 cups of broth on top of what was put into the Instant Pot earlier. Now, if you're not going to soak and ferment your beans, your amounts are going to be different. This is going to be soupier than the rosemary garlic beans that are in my cookbook, because we're making a soup. And now we got to just add our chicken, and this is ready to go. Super, super, super fast meal. This is over medium. I'm just going to let it simmer because, we want to incorporate the flavors into the beans as best we can, even though they're already cooked. And we're going to go ahead and chop up this chicken. Just in case you're new here, we raise all of our own chicken here on the farm, and usually we freeze them whole, and then I slowly work on cooking whatever I couldn't get canned on the butcher day. I slowly work on cooking it and turning it into broth and turning it into boneless chicken, basically. And so what I do is I usually empty out my huge roaster, and I would go ahead and take the meat off the bones. And then I would measure it out into 1-pound bags for meals. Yes, I'm chopping the nice, yummy, fat-covered skin into this meal. I'm going to switch over to my fillet knife, though, because I can get a very, very small cut on that skin without my knife sliding. You want the skin, okay? If you are paying for boneless, skinless chicken breasts from the store, you are being robbed, okay? And the reason why is that skin contains vitamin A, which is what you need to break down and utilize protein. That's why protein powders are a no-go, you guys. There's way too much protein in there, and there's not enough vitamin A. And what ends up happening is when you consume protein without vitamin A, you end up robbing your liver of vitamin A. Not a good scenario. So if you can just dice up that skin real small, if your kids are really picky, you could even put it into the food processor. But the point is that we need to get that skin in because we are consuming protein. And it really doesn't matter whether the protein is white meat protein, dark meat protein, it doesn't matter. They still need the vitamin A. And of course, if you want the good amounts of vitamin A, whatever you can afford, but if you can afford the chickens that have been out on the pasture and they eat the grass and they're out in the sunshine, they have higher amounts of vitamin A. So it's more bang for your buck. And of course, this is all pasture chicken because we raised it. So I know that there's lots of vitamin A in this stuff. I'm going to give this a good stir. This particular dish likes to kind of burn down to the bottom of the pan. So just make sure that when you're stirring all the way across the bottom of your pan because it will burn. We usually raise the Freedom Ranger, which is an awesome meat type bird. It's not a Cornish cross. And last year we were forced into, through circumstances that were just so sad, we were forced to raise the Cornish cross, which is what this is. We still pastured them. They still got rotated. They still had access to grass. They ate the grass. They ate the bugs. They ate all the things. And they ate, the Cornish cross actually ate more grain than our Freedom Rangers, but we got more meat. So anyway, this year we're going to go back to or stay at the Cornish cross and continue with them for a while because our birds were just more birds for the same amount of feed. And so we're going to do that. We also have a trip coming up. And so we're trying to get all of our chickens harvested, canned, and preserved before our trip. We are looking forward to our trip. We haven't had a family trip in about 5 years. And so we're super excited to have wonderful neighbors that are willing to do our chores for us. And that includes milking and everything, which I just can't believe it. And be able to escape from the farm for almost a week, actually. I think it's about a 5-day vacation, so it should be a blast. There's lots of fun things already planned. Okay, so I'm going to move you guys on over. So, this is what it looks like. I'm probably going to add about another 2 more cups, so a total of 6 cups of broth. In addition to the broth that the beans were cooked in, okay? I'm going to grab 2 more cups of broth, and we're going to get it dumped right on in there. It's nice and creamy. You could even blend those beans if you wanted to a little bit to thicken it on up. All right, I got 2 more cups of broth coming your way. Here we go. There we go. That's perfect. So with this particular dish, we usually end up adding a little bit more of the healthy salt on the table. Another thing you can do to dress this up if you wanted to is you could totally add canned diced tomatoes. So good. It turns it more into like an Italian flavored dish. Or even you could do, if you don't have diced tomatoes, with diced tomatoes, you could add a little bit of tomato paste or tomato sauce. Just the tomato flavor does amazing inside the soup. Or even in the rosemary garlic beans. Okay? Either way. So, this is actually done. Everything is cooked. The chicken was cooked. The beans are cooked. The garlic and the onions are all cooked. And of course, the broth is done. So that is our dinner. Isn't that crazy? That was like a under 20-minute dinner. Super awesome. You could totally have the Instant Pot going while you're at work and have the beans ready to go and do exactly what I just did. And have a meal ready to go for your family. It's awesome. Cool. All right, you guys. I'm going to push you on back. Oh, in other news here, we'll show you this. I've got another batch of El Luterai yogurt. I love these yogurt makers, you guys. Actually, I have 2. There's another one to your left. Love the El Luterai yogurt in general. I have been making it with my raw goat milk. but not raw. I've been following some of the rules. So they usually tell you have to use ultra pasteurized milk, which I did the first time. I just can't continue to convince myself to. So what I am doing was I thought I was actually ultra pasteurizing our goat milk, but what I did was stick the Dutch oven that we're just cooking out of right now into the oven with some milk in it and turn it up to 280 degrees, which is what an ultra pasteurization is. And it must have been in there for like 45 minutes since I pulled it out, and the temperature of the milk was only like 220, I think. So I was like, okay, well, that's the best I can do here because I don't have any fancy machines to ultra pasteurize my milk. It turned out perfect, okay? So then since then, I've taken my raw goat's milk because I just don't feel like I should go to the store and buy milk. It seems funny. We have so much milk here now. It's crazy. And so I have just been taking it and putting it on the stovetop and bringing it up to a boil, essentially, and just making sure it goes over the 200-degree mark. And I've had really great results with that. I will say I have learned the hard way that if you don't sanitize the containers that you're making your El Ruderai yogurt with, you will get a batch that will be contaminated, and it looks like cheese. It kind of floats to the top, and it looks like Parmesan cheese that hasn't been dried out yet, and the smell is off. So this yogurt is a little bit more temperamental than what I'm used to, which is why I have 2 of those yogurt makers going at the same time, so I can make essentially an entire gallon of the El Ruderai yogurt all at once. Because it's a big process. It's the boiling of the milk. If you do store-bought milk, it's an easy process, but for using your own milk from your own farm, it's just another step. But either way, you would have to boil or sanitize with something your yogurt containers. So I've just been bringing the water up to almost a boil with the containers in it, and then like kind of soaking the lids in there for a little bit, and that's been working fine too. It's just washing them with your other dishes and using the same rag with everything and using the same towel with everything just doesn't work. It ends up contaminating the batch because the El Ruderai is not strong enough to overcome that. Our normal dairy that we make here on the farm is raw. It's with our goat milk, and I just use my Instant Pot. I just throw it all in there, add a little bit of gelatin so it ends up nice and thick, and walk away. I don't sanitize anything. I don't heat my milk up for any reason. It's just the way it is. And I, of course, add the yogurt starter for that. But it's just a totally different experience and process. But I love the taste of the El Ruderai yogurt. I just love it. It's been really, really great. So if you guys are in the market for a yogurt maker, ultimate yogurt maker, they're on Amazon. It can hold 2 quart size glass jars, or I think it's 8 single, like little ones. And I did the 2 quart ones because obviously it makes more. And for our family to each have a half a cup every day, we're going through a whole quart a day. So, but anyway, I had to make yogurt every day that way, and it was just too much. And I just told my husband, I said, I know that when we are having even more milk coming in, which is just about to happen, and I'm making all the hard cheeses and all the cheeses in general and everything this year, dealing with El Ruderai yogurt every single day is just not going to happen. So we went ahead and bought a second one, even though it was like $70 per yogurt maker. It was just something that I had to do in order to keep my sanity. So that's what we did. So anyway, that's that. That's about the only update here. We have warm weather, but we're supposed to have snow tonight. I think it was like 71 here today, and we're going to have snow. So that's interesting. Oh, my chickens are laying. I don't think my neighbor will be watching, but if you are watching, even a replay, you were right. So my neighbor was over here and had mentioned to one of the girls that our chickens just need some meat. That's why they're not laying. Our chickens stopped laying when we bought the new chicken tractor, and I assumed that it was stress. Well, then it continued in, and that would have been back like in December, I think. And they continued not laying. So then I said, well, they must be laying somewhere on the farm. Everybody needs to go look. Nobody could find any eggs. So I started to get frustrated. So I was like, okay, well, maybe it's just, they have a light. I don't know. It'll shake on out. Well, it didn't shake out. So here we are, end of March. So about a week ago, she was over and was talking to the kids and said, I think that your chickens just need meat, because if you think about it, your chickens eat bugs and all sorts of things when the ground thaws. And that's when they start laying eggs. And so she had told us about how she had given her chickens meat, and they had laid 3 eggs the day before, and she gave them meat, and the next day they had laid like a whole dozen. And so I was like, oh, okay, fine. You know what? I have some grass pasture raised pork, a liver inside of my freezer that we haven't gotten to. And so I was like, I'm just going to take one of these pork livers. I'm going to chop it up really, really small and go out there and feed it to them. Of course, they went nuts. And you know what? Today, we have gotten over 2 dozen eggs in one day. So just in case you're watching, Mary, yes, you were right. And I'm actually going to write it on my calendar to start feeding them some form of meat starting in January this next year, about once a week. Just to see if they can come back into their full laying cycle, because we have a light on and everything, sooner, instead of waiting until May, or sorry, instead of waiting until March. It's one of those M months. Anyway, and so I have lots of eggs, and so I'm going to actually start water glassing them. That's how I preserve my eggs, so I know I have enough to last us all winter when they stop laying, because chickens do go through a molt. That's natural. It's just when the daylight hours start increasing again, they should be coming out of that and into laying again. So they just need a little bit of a boost, which is just fine. I'm happy to share my liver from a variety of different healthy pastured animals with them if it means I get lots of eggs, because we go through a lot of eggs here on the farm. So anyway, that is the update. I'm so happy my chickens are laying. All the animals are doing great. It's awesome. So I hope you guys are doing well. You guys have been super quiet in the comments tonight, so I'm going to let you guys go. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next week. You guys take care.